Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here, and it's time for this week's weekly adventures. Also, just as a reminder, this week we're also having a patch come out, so you may want to hold off on doing these weeklies so that you have a higher chance of potentially getting rewards once the patch drops, just in case they have some extra champions or some new relics in there. That being said though, this isn't a major patch, like it's not one of the expansions, so it's less likely for that to happen, but still just a heads up, you may want to consider waiting till the patch actually drops on Wednesday. But for the adventures, we have a 1.5, 2.5, and a 3-star adventure. For the 1.5, round start, refill all player spell mana, so very simple. Just about every deck in the game can benefit from this. So feel free to choose whoever you really want here. Obviously, any spell-based champions are going to do great. If there's a champion that you're normally running Archangel Staff on, you can maybe take that off since you won't need it for this adventure, and then try to experiment with a different relic setup. So again, spells-based champions will be best, but really this will be nice for everyone because all the decks have some spells in there. But very nice, simple, general power for everyone. Alright, for the 2.5, we have game start. All players start with 10 mana gems. This is really cool. I don't know if we've seen this for an entire adventure before. Normally this is just for a specific encounter. And then the withstand round start, grant the foe's units 1 health. So the guided meditation, this will be very nice, especially for any champions that want to be running with a Chemtech duplicator. Those champions are going to be able to benefit from this the most, because as soon as you play your champion, you'll be able to activate that duplicator and get all of your spells doubled. So some champions like Nami, Set, Lee Sin, Master Yi, those will all be amazing, as well as really any champion that wants to be out, as well as any champion that wants to use that Chemtech duplicator. Now you can also use this for some of your slower decks or decks with more expensive units, such as Volibear. You could probably use him to just play him immediately and automatically end the game based on your relic setup. Or this could let you play some Nasus or Ornn decks and not have as terrible of a time. So a lot of different ways you can go with this, but probably the most enjoyable and the best will be any champions that are utilizing Chemtech duplicator, since you can use that round 1. Also for the withstand, you just generally want to remove enemy units so that they can't keep stacking up this buff round after round. Alright, up first we have Ascension's Toll. When you level up a champion, all players discard their hand. Now I think we've tried this out before, but champions like Jinx that benefit from their hand being discarded don't benefit from this, because technically they, being Jinx, isn't discarding the hand. This is someone else discarding your hand for you, and so your star powers that normally benefit from discards don't actually help here. So Jinx and Nyla probably won't be able to work here. This will be rather annoying. You may want to go for champions where you normally don't level up your champion at all, and you're normally ending the game before that happens, or just try to plan around the fact that this is going to happen so you don't have any cards you're trying to save that are then going to get discarded. Having some extra draw will definitely help you out, but this will be a fairly annoying power. And of course, they also pair it with Undying Rage, another annoying power that pretty much everyone hates. Each round, the first time the foe's units would die, grant them Tough, Overwhelm, and Fearsome instead. So I'm sure you all know how to deal with this by now. Generally, a great way is just having some elusives or big Overwhelm units that can essentially ignore the enemy targets and just push through and obliterate the enemy nexus. With Ascension's Toil, you probably want to build your champion to move away from leveling them up as fast as possible unless you have some good innate draw. So champions like Kayn or Garen, normally you're using like double strike relics on them. Here you might want to go against that, and maybe for Garen just put like a Troll King's Crown on instead to give all your units overwhelmed, so you can just try to rush down the enemy without necessarily having to level up yourself. Or try to go for some strong combos, like maybe use Crown Guard Inheritance so that as soon as you level up, you're ending the game so you don't have to worry about not having any cards anymore. Because this here, it just says discard their hand, not discard their hand and draw that many more cards. It's just getting rid of all the cards you have, and so this can really screw you over if you're on some champions. Now I think you'll still be able to play this with just about any champion, you just really have to plan around it beforehand. And again, either try to focus on builds where you're not leveling up your champion and you're ending the game without that, or focus on ending the game as soon as you level up your champion. So either going for a strong combo with like Crown Guard and Tempest Blade, or maybe playing a champion that has very strong stats, and you pair them with a Gatebreaker to just nuke the Nexus. Maybe Gatebreaker Bounty Hunter is always a good idea to just chunk the Nexus very, very hard. The one good thing about this, though, is you will be forcing the enemy to also discard their hand, so even though this will hurt you, it will also be hurting your opponent. Now, while you can make this work on most champions, you probably want to avoid some champions that level up multiple times, such as Eve or Gnar. Both of them would probably be pretty terrible for this adventure. Also, you may want to consider putting Grand General's counterplan on your champion. That way, every single round, you're playing a spell, so you'll always have something to play, even if the rest of your cards are discarded. This will be a very good idea if you're playing champions that have draw on their champion card. So units like Janna will be great for this because her champion spell is draw more cards, and then she also has a bunch of draw in her kit, as well as having some good elusive units. So Janna, if you maxed her out, would probably be ideal for this, but there's many other champions as well that you will be able to use for this. You just have to really build around it and play around it beforehand. That's it for the weeklies, though. The first two seem like they'll be very fun. The last one seems like it'll just be annoying. Not necessarily difficult, but annoying. Again, you might want to consider holding off until the patch actually drops to do the weeklies, but it's not going to be as important as a expansion launch patch. So if you still do them beforehand, it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, if you have any awesome combos you want to shout out to other players, definitely comment those down below. I hope you all have a great day and a great week.